Topic 2. Purchase and expenses. In this video, we're going to introduce how we're going to record our purchases and expenses. So in this navigation pane, we're going to focus on these expenses. Okay? So typically when we purchase, we're going to follow the following procedures. Right? We're going to issue a purchase order. We're going to send this purchase order to the procurement department. Then the procurement department is going to send it to the vendor. Right? The vendor is going to ship the products and also send a bill. Okay? And in the warehouse, when we receive the products, right? The warehouse is going to send the product receipt to the accounting department. Of course, accounting department get the purchase order, right? So together with the bill, the accounting department is going to make the payment. So we're going to do most of these procedures in QuickBooks Online, but not all of them. And there's also another, that's a credit purchase, right? Another purchase is a cash purchase. Basically, it's a cash transactions, right? The company provides a service and we pay the cash. We send a check. That's it. So we're going to record this type of transactions in another way. All right, so let's start with the credit purchase. So first, to get purchase order, we're going to first enable purchase order. I think this is a default, okay? Or you can also disable purchase order from the gear setting. We talked about that in the previous videos. All right, so we have two places to set a purchase order. So we can set up a new, and from the vendor, we can set up a purchase order. Okay, or we can go to the vendor list and pick up the vendor we want to purchase. For example, this Alice equipment rental. Right click here and create a purchase order. Either way will be fine. Right? Personally, I prefer from the new setup. It's quick. So I'm gonna set up a purchase order. And I'm going to choose the vendor, the Alice equipment rental. So all the information will be filled up automatically. Alright, next we're going to see we have category details and item details. The difference is for category details, we're going to record these transactions and pick one of the account. And here, one of the expenses account we're going to record. And for item details, it's we have to specify which product or services we have purchased from the vendor. So we have to set up the product and services list. So we're going to talk about that later. So for now, for this rental purchase order, we're going to record it as an expense. The rental expense. The equipment rental expense. So we're going to put the descriptions. Right? It's a rental truck, right? Rental truck. An amount, let's say $1,000. Oops. 3. Okay. And this is not for particular customers, so they leave it blank. Alright, so we can put other informations here, memos or message or attachment. So for now we're not gonna put anything. But in the real transactions, right? This must be approved, right? So we may attach any of those documents right here. So if we save and send, the purchase order will be sent to the vendor directly. So we're going to just save and close for now. Alright, so purchase order is saved. So we can close it. So right here we're going to see some information about all vendors. Right, we have 2 purchase orders. And we have some overdues, open bills, and the paid amount. So let's click the purchase orders. So we see 2 purchase orders. One was created, right, a minute ago. That's $1,000 rental purchase order. Right, we can click this to review the purchase order. Right, it's purchase order 1005. Right, we can, if you want to send purchase order to someone else, we can print it. Yeah, we can print it, and we can delete it if you don't want it. Okay. All right. So let's get back to the vendor list. All right. So these are the 2 vendors we have the purchase order. The next step is we're gonna receive the bill from the vendors, and they're going to pay for it. So again, we have 2 places to create a bill. Look at this. We have the right options to create a bill, which is pretty easy, or we can create a bill from these new buttons. We're going to create a bill from the vendors. Either one will be fine. So if we do this from the vendor list, from the vendors here, I'm going to create a bill, and if we choose the vendor, the QuickBooks will automatically recognize existing purchase order from this vendor. Okay, we can actually add these. So all the information now is filled automatically. All right, other things we may change is the term of this bill. So for example, they give us 30 days to pay. So we receive the bill and the due date is in a month. Okay, you can also put a bill number, and That's it. So we can save it. We can even save and schedule payment. So I'm going to save and close for now. All right. So now this amount will go to the bills, open bills. These are unpaid bills. We have a lot of bills, right, to pay, and one of them is $1,000 to alias equipment rental. Now we're gonna wait if they provide a service, okay, and the next step is to pay the bill. Again, we have multiple places to pay the bill, and one of them is right here. Click make a payment, which is very straightforward. Or we can go back to the new button, right? Can click the pay bill function, and immediately the QuickBooks Online is to list all the open bills that we need to pay, and we're going to select, right, alias rental equipment to make the payment. All right, so here we have the payment account. How are we going to make the payment? Right? You can make a payment from checking, savings, and the credit card account. So for now, if we make the payment from the credit card, it's going to make the total credit card balance to $1,175.72 if we pay the $1,000 bill. Okay? So let's click the save and close. So we paid with the credit card. So one bill is marked as paid. So if I refresh the screens, as you can see, the $1,000 has been moved from open bills to paid amount, right? The $1,000 is not listed anymore here. All right. Another way to pay the bill is through the checking function. So we're going to write a check to pay the bill. So let's take a look at, for example, PG&E, the utility companies. We own $86.44, and we're going to write a check to pay this amount. So we're going to create new and choose the check. So we're going to automatically assign a check number 71. So we're going to pay the vendor, PG&E. As you can see here, the system automatically identifies there's a bill. So we can add the bill now. So all the information will be filled automatically. Alright, and this function, print later, very useful. Okay, very likely the company is going to finish all their checking in the system. Then we're going to print all the checks together by the end of the day in batch. That's going to be more efficient, basically. So for now, I'm going to select print later, okay? So the check number will be removed, and it is shown as to be print. We're going to assign check number later. So we're going to save and close. Okay. So assume that we wrongly issued another check to PG&E. For example, $95. All right. Then when we are reviewing our chart of accounts, in reviewing transactions for our checking account, we identify the error. The $95 check was wrong. Okay. So we're going to correct it. So we're going to click these transactions and you can delete it immediately, but how about we review it first? So we're going to choose edit. Okay, it brings us back to the check. So we're going to review it and we eventually confirm it is an error. So what we're going to do is we're going to select more. We're going to void this check. We can also delete it. The difference is when we void, the system is going to keep the records. Okay. So we're going to choose void this check. Select yes. So the transaction now is successfully voided. So if we refresh this page, right? This transaction, the $95 now is gone, but the transaction is still here, but it is shown as voided, and the dollar amount now is 0. Okay. Now it's time to print all the checks. Again, we're going to create, and here we have the print check function. First, because we have never print check before, we have to go through this setup. This is setup page. So I can select I'm finished with the setup. I don't want to customize my checks. Probably have to select print check again. It brings me to the check to be printed. But now we have only one check to be printed. Okay. And now we have to assign the check number. So we're going to assign 71. If we have multiple checks, we're going to select all of them. Then we can set up the print. I'm not going to do it now, so I'm going to preview and print. Alright, so this is a preview of the print. So when you click print and you have the check paper in your printer, then it's down. So I'm not going to print it. Assume we have printed, so yes, they are printed correctly. So I'm going to select down and close it. And if we go back to the vendor page, and check the PG&E, right? We should have zero balance. Zero balance. Okay, so let's talk about another case. Duplicated expense. It happens sometimes. For example, for Northern Lumber building materials, we already have recorded a $205 bill, okay, which is to be paid. And right here, and for example, we forgot about this bill. Then one day we see the another bill the company sent because they never received payment, so they send the bill again. Okay, we see the bills, and we paid $205 somehow. Okay, not through the bill payment procedures. For example, we just write a check to Northern Lumber and Building Materials. For example, let's do it. So assume this is part of the expense, the drop materials, for example. I'm going to select supplies anyway, for demonstration purposes. $205. But we forgot to add the bill into this payment. Okay, let's see what's going to happen. So what is happening if you look at the Northern Lumber building materials? Okay, I have refreshed my page. We paid $205, right? But the Northern Lumber still show $205 open balance, meaning the bill is not paid. Okay? So now we paid the company, but we still have an unpaid bill. So how to correct this error? So we can delete or void the previous check. Of course we can do that. But we can also modify the transactions, solve these problems easily. So let's go to the chart of account. Right? It's all about this transaction. Now, instead of debiting the supply expenses, so I'm going to debit this as a so we're going to debit accounts payable. Reduce accounts payable in the save, so this check is still there. Okay, we're not going to change the check itself, but we change the transaction journal entry. Now let's go back to the vendor, the Northern Lumber and Building Materials. See, as you can see, when we change the check functions to account payables, it automatically offset the bill to Northern Lumbers. So the bill is paid. Alright, I shouldn't say the bill is paid, but we do not owe Northern Lumber any balance. Okay? But the bill is still there. We can do either we can mark it as paid, so we're gonna forget about it because we do not owe Northern Lumber any money. Or we can finish the bill pay. Right here, we're going to pay the bill, the Northern Lumber. If we select the balance, it will be offset with the credit because we already paid Northern Lumber $205. Become the credit for this payment. The total payment will be $0. And if we select Save and Close, okay, and the Northern Lumber's bill is finally solved. And that's it. We can just mark it as paid, or we can just finish the bill payment, the process again, and apply the credit. Either way, we're going to solve this problem. So, alright, so this is a purchase with credit, just through the bill. And sometimes we purchase without going through the bills, like we're going to purchase a meal, right? There's no bill. We get meal and we pay for it. And that's it. And for those kind of transactions, we're going to go through these expense. Okay? So we're going to click expense. And for example, we purchased $20 meal from Bob's Burger Joint. We paid with MasterCard. And now we're going to select a category to record. Obviously, this is a part of the meal, right? Meal and entertainment expenses. And amount is $20. and you can attach the receipt from the Bob's Burger joint. So we're gonna save and close, and that's it. We paid a $20 meal expense. And finally, let's talk about vendor credit. So sometimes we're not satisfied with the purchase and we call the vendor and they offer us some credit. Okay, we can apply the credit to the next purchase. Alright, so let's go through the vendor list. So see, okay, so I'm going to cover Diego's Body Shop. Okay, $755. It's a big bill. And I'm not satisfied. So they offer, let's say, $50 vendor credit. Or maybe $100. Okay, $100. Make it larger. $100 vendor credit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select create new, and here the vendor credit. I'm going to select the vendor, the Body Shop. And we'll record our category details. Going to record the same expense account as we did when we recorded the $755 bill. So we know it's part of the maintenance expense. Right, it's part of the maintenance equipment repair expense. Let's see, the credit is $100. Right, I'm gonna save and close. Right, as you can see now, the open balance for Diego's Road Warrior Body Shop is $655. $655, right? So when we pay Diego's Road Warrior Body Shop, for example, we're gonna pay bills. We're gonna select the Diego's Warrior Body Shop. The $100 credit will be applied automatically. So we have to only pay $655, right? That's it. So we're going to pay through the checking account. Now I have paid Diego's Road Warrior Body Shop $655. And I received vehicle back. I'm still not satisfied. Okay, so I called Diego's Body Shop again, saying, okay, you have to refund me partially. I'm not satisfied. So anyway, through a lot of phone calls, eventually they agreed to refund another $200. So, and we received a check from Diego's Body Shop. So how to record this refund? Again, it becomes a $200 vendor credit. So I'm going to create a vendor credit again from Diego's Body Shop. So this has been filled automatically. So we're going to save and close. This is a new credit in addition to the $100. Alright, unlike the previous one, we have paid Diego's Body Shop, and I'm not going to use their service anymore. So what I want is a check refund. So I received the check, and I deposit the Diego's check to my bank account. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to record a bank deposit. So we're going to make a deposit. I'm going to deposit Diego's check, bank deposit. So I'm going to deposit into my checking account. As you can see, we have other checks to be deposited. So we're going to talk about that in the banking section. And for now, we're going to just deposit Diego's check. So this is received from Diego. And the account we're going to use, okay, is payables. So we receive the money with debit cash, and we're going to credit a payable to Diego. So this becomes accounts payable to Diego. So we're going to save and close. So deposit $200 check, and we owe Diego theoretically $200. Now we're going to resolve these. Going to check the Diego's account. This is the vendor list, right? Going to find the Diego's. Diego's account has a zero balance because look at Diego's account, right? Our $200 payables to Diego is offset by the $200 vendor credit. Okay. Now what we're gonna do, we're gonna offset the vendor credit with the account payables, those two. We can offset those two. Okay. Although it's the Diego's account is already balanced, but we're going to offset those two accounts. In other words, we're going to use the vendor credit to pay the account payables to Diego. We can do that with a check. Okay. So this is one of the use with checking functions. With the checking functions, sometimes we don't have to pay. Okay, we don't have to actually pay. We use a check as a place to offset certain accounts, so we're gonna get balanced. All right, so I'm gonna pay the Diego Body Shop. And you can see we have two related transactions. We have a deposit and we have a vendor credit. So we're going to add both. When I add both into this check transactions, outstanding balance is offset by the credit, vendor credit. The total amount will be zero. So when we click save and close, Okay? We finished the refund process. So the outcome is we received $20 from Diego's, and we do not owe Diego's any money. And that's it.